the Pan-African Pyramid debate.
First of all, I see machineries from Romania. They have been given safe passage.
Correct.
To live and go in peace.
Correct.
But when you meet your fellow black man, it's target.
Mm.
If it's Rwandan soldier on South African soldier, target.
Mm.
You know, if it's M23 and the other, target. But the machineries, Romanians are being given red carpet.
The Pan-African Pyramid debate.
M23 says Goma from the night of the Sunday to the Monday. Me arrive in South Africa on the Tuesday, right? On that very Tuesday, all the newspapers were speaking about what's happening because now we knew there were 13 deaths. And more people were dying. All South African soldiers were in a base, a military base, stuck there. Rwandan sniping at them. M23, Rwandan army, it's not clear. Ramaphosa said it's the Rwandan army that shot them. They call them a militia. Kagame said those are M23 people. So we're not sure of who shot, but what we know is that they were surrounded.
Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.
The Pan-African Weekly Roundup with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe Sankara.
That becomes Sankara. Really?
That's
fantastic. That is fantastic.
Thomas Lisafri Mutatina, but Thomas is always Thomas Sankara. Lisafri Mutatina, and then we have given him in Uganda for doing what he does. I was in Burkina Faso, if we can begin with that.
Yeah. Tell us what were you doing that side, eh?
These are the signs.
I can see you came back with a lot of things.
This is Thomas Sankara. Thomas Sankara is alive in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
The Sahel region.
Yes.
Thomas Sankara is very well...
Thomas Sankara is alive in every African art.
Yeah, so we were well received.
Okay.
We spent a week.
Okay.
First of all, we were picked from the airport by the presidential convoy.
Okay.
Taken to our hotels. The entire week, we were being taken from Monday, from Wednesday when I arrived. Every day to a different infrastructure.
Okay.
Factories, Coca-Cola, everything.
Okay.
We saw him at the last night. At the last day, that's when. Because I was made to understand that Traore wants to meet you when you are now conversant with the country.
Yes.
So that when you're discussing from a point of knowledge.
Okay.
You see what they've been able to achieve.
Yes.
You even appreciate maybe their challenges, their weaknesses, you can advise. So it was a very good thing. I can tell you that the journey from right here, Kampala to Ouagadougou, I stopped at the Addis Ababa. From Addis Ababa, I went to Niamey.
Okay.
Niamey, that is Niger.
Okay.
From Niger to Ouagadougou.
Wow, okay.
Life has been good, man.
So it has been a long journey, eh?
Hey!
It has been a long journey.
9 hours of non-stop.
And how is
flight.
Ouagadougou? How is the city? You've been also to Kigali. Last show you were in Kigali. This show you in Ouagadougou, Burkina. Yeah. How does it compare? Ouagadougou,
is
Kigali?
Extremely big. It's a huge city.
It's a huge city, eh?
It's not as really well built like you would expect.
Yes.
Like when you go to Kampala.
Yes.
Kampala is built from building to building.
Yes.
It's really, building to building. Ouagadougou
There's no space.
There's a lot of space.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay.
There's a lot of space in between the buildings.
Okay.
That calls for building. But the city is big. It's one of the reasons why it is like that. It is huge.
Okay.
The city is so big, my friend.
Yeah.
So huge.
You've been traveling from one side of the city to the other side. You can take 2 hours, eh?
The road network in the city, even those interconnecting, very good. Very wide roads, very well maintained. Ouagadougou is a city.
A beautiful place, eh?
It's a beautiful place. The people.
Yeah.
People. I have learned so far when you talk about real Pan-Africanism and brotherhood.
Yes.
I have seen the people of Rwanda. I went to Rwanda. The people there, when you see how they welcome visitors, how they receive you, how they talk to you, when you have a problem, how they are willing to help you. Another country I went to is Tanzania, Mwanza.
Okay.
People are willing to help. It's different from when you come to Kampala.
Okay.
Yeah, when you come to Kampala, it's different.
People
of Kampala and Kenya,
they
are simply interested in what do I take from this guest this
Okay.
visitor.
Okay.
I was in the Burkina, I was in Rwanda, I was in that. People are simply willing to help out.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
When you have a
Okay.
challenge, they are the ones even willing to pay for you.
The-
In Rwanda, I didn't have Rwandan money, the Mafaranga.
Yes,
I
I
had
remember
Ugandan
that.
money. When I jumped in a taxi, I told the conductor I didn't have Rwandan money, but I can give you Ugandan money. I double the price. He said, no, 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 you are Ugandan? I said, yes. No, you're my brother. I don't have to cheat you by asking you double the price because you have Ugandan money. I have paid for you. It was 500 francs.
Okay.
Rwandan francs, 500.
And they just give it to
And
you.
he said, no, don't worry, you're my brother.
Ah.
Now, in Kampala here,
Yeah.
if they knew that you're a visitor, they would want to use that advantage
8,000.
to steal from you.
It become
They would
8,000.
even charge you 10,000. So
Yeah.
in Rwanda, it is different. Once they knew that there was a visitor, they had to take care of
But
me.
in Burkina, they knew you were visiting the president,
Yeah.
maybe.
No.
Maybe they seen
there
you
are
were
other-
visiting the
there are other
president.
people- There are other people, the delegation that I had, who really wouldn't be recognized that they are the president's delegation. They are part of the delegation.
Okay.
But they were treated fairly well. So,
Okay.
and leave alone the airport and
Yes.
so on, but even the people you on the streets where you
Yes.
go, because we decided to eat on the streets.
Of course.
We're eating on the streets.
Like the
I
people
refused
do.
this hotel food.
Yes.
I was eating on the streets with the
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And you see how people treat you, how they speak to you. They are willing to help.
Yes.
They're willing to converse with you. There is one thing I learned also.
Okay.
I was too hungry.
Okay.
So we went to the other guys on the street and we made orders. Fortunately enough or unfortunately, my order came first.
Okay.
When it came first, I started eating.
Yeah.
You know what happened?
They were not happy with you, eh?
They find there, if you eat alone,
Yes.
you are fined to pay the bill, the entire bill of the people you are with.
Yes.
I had to be fined. I had to pay the entire bill
Yes.
of all the people.
They were not happy, eh?
No, it's their culture. They eat together.
They eat together.
Yes, you're not supposed to eat alone.
Even me, I used to live in Senegal. They eat
Yes.
together.
So-
they're eating plate by plate like this. It's funny. It's
So-
an East African thing.
So now, when you come to Kampala, it's not the thing. So we are quite. I have seen some people teaching Pan-Africanism, nationalism in Uganda. No, this thing is not for teaching.
It's for real
No.
life, eh?
You cannot teach that.
Yes.
Who taught you to love your mother or dad or father?
Yeah, it was
It's
there.
inborn.
Yes.
So this is the spirit of Africa
Okay.
that we must begin to realize that we are one. So nobody is going to teach you.
Okay.
Nobody. So those are some of the things that I learned from there.
But tell us about that new hat that you have. Now you
Now-
bring a hat like this in the show. You don't even tell us.
Yeah, this one, this is one of the art crafts
Okay.
of the young generation, young people, 7, 8, 9-year-old boy.
Okay,
He's one who
okay,
sold
okay.
me this, sold to me this.
Okay,
I
okay,
had
okay.
even many more. My girl at home, Mary, has taken some of them. I
Oh,
had many things.
you bought a series,
Yeah,
eh?
I
You
bought
bought
the
the whole
thing. I
series,
bought
eh?
the thing. I bought the thing.
I do, they were
And
happy
these
with you.
boys, you find them there. Kampala boys,
Yeah.
these young people are on TikTok
Yes,
talking trash, nothing.
I know.
The other boys there in Ogadugu,
Yes.
7 o'clock. The boy is in the art industry.
It's crafting,
something.
eh?
These things. You see this?
Okay,
All
okay.
these are young
All
kids.
of them, eh?
Yeah. All
Where's
these
mine?
Are from Ouagadougou.
Where is mine
I'll
now?
give you.
We wonder, where is mine?
So all these are from these young people,
Yes.
young generation,
Yes.
very busy working.
Okay.
Come to Kampala. You find somebody, a 9-year-old has a tablet, has what they are talking nonsense. They are,
Being disturbed, eh?
yeah. So
From the aircraft, eh?
there is really a problem.
From the real craft, eh?
It's-
And
it's a-
how
it's
did
a
you
problem.
find the spirit that Traore tried to bring to the country? Because people have always said that when Sankara was in power, the whole country was for Sankara, and then everything was changing like it have never been changed before. Could you speak with the people about Traore and what is changing in their life and what
Yeah,
have they said?
actually, many things are changing. First of all, I realized there is still some pockets of insecurity, insurgencies,
Yes.
because the French, you people who were kicked out from France, I mean from Burkina, the entire Sahel region, you cannot just go.
Nah.
So you still come and they find some little insurgencies, in the, especially up country towns and so on. So there is that kind of watchdog. Eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody is very, very
Very checking who is
Yeah.
coming to
Yeah,
to
watchful
come with the
there,
thing.
yeah.
Eh?
So,
Okay.
yeah, everybody is on alert.
Have you seen what Traoré said about the French coming there? He said that they keep saying that we are poor. But when we ask them to leave,
They don't want.
they don't want to leave.
Because they can't, this continent is very rich.
How do you understand that?
This continent is very rich. These people have their mineral resources.
They found it, eh?
You know?
The gold, eh?
Then
Have you seen
another
some
thing-
gold refinery there?
Yeah, another thing, I went to Thomas Sankara's
Memorial.
memorial.
The statue like
Yeah,
this.
you saw the photo, man.
Yeah. This one I want to see one day. This one I will see one day.
Every day you find there people, they pass by, they bow, they
Yeah.
go to work.
Okay,
Even if they
okay.
come back, they respect.
They respect Sankara a lot. Eh?
Yes.
You know, Sankara is respected everywhere
Yeah,
you go,
they
but
respect-
you put a
Can
statue
you
of
imagine
Sankara,
somebody,
people will
that's
go.
like somebody goes to church on Sunday or every morning to pray, they
You
go
pray
to
Sankara.
Sankara's memorial, they,
And the memorial is where he has been killed, right?
yeah.
It
Where
is
he
made really
was,
right
where
there,
he was shot,
where he was shot.
that's where the memorial is.
And we remember that when he was shot, he told the people not to resist because they were coming for him. So he didn't want other people to die. He thought they were coming for him. Of course, he didn't know if he's going to get shot or not shot. But what he knew is that death was certain
They were
for
coming for
revolutionary people. So whoever he was coming, they were coming for him. So when Sankara died, he expressly said, don't die for me. Don't die for me. Die for you. Die for the cause, right? When it was at the place where he died, he was killed. He told the people, don't wait. They're coming for me. Don't fight for no reason. And he was right, because at the end of the day, they would have got killed. Most of them got killed. So
So
that
now,
place
you were in
is where the
South-
statue of
so,
Sankara
you're done
is.
with Ouagadougou. I want to go to South Africa. You're in South Africa. Tell
Now,
me.
me, I want to go to Ouagadougou. So South Africa, South Africa was really interesting, and I think that's also what the topic that leads us here. I have never seen South African being that pissed at another African neighbors. It is very the first time that I feel that spirit that they're not happy. Because remember, I arrived the week where M23 size Goma. M23 size Goma from the night of the Sunday to the Monday. Me, I arrive in South Africa on the Tuesday, right? On that very Tuesday, all the newspaper were speaking about what's happening. Because now we knew there were 13 deaths. And more people were dying. All South African soldiers were in a base, a military base, stuck there. Rwandan sniping at them. M23, Rwandan army, it's not clear. Ramaphosa said it's the Rwandan army that shot them. They call them a militia. Kagame said those are M23 people. So we're not sure of who shot, but what we know is that they were surrounded, right? So the boys were inside, no munitions, no provisions. No, they had the munition, they had the provisions, but they were mainly inside, right? So now, Kagame said, Ramaphosa said, you touch one single more South African, we're coming with the full army. We're coming with the full army. You don't touch at those South African there. He said that to Kagame. Kagame was not happy with that. He said, no, we do what we want. And when they come here, if you want to send the army, we're ready to receive them. We are ready to receive them. We're going to fight them and shoot them like we shot the other guys.
But do you think Ramaphosa is right to threaten Kagame? Kagame is a neighbor of Congo. Kagame is in East Africa. How many miles away has Ramaphosa come to work as a machinery? Do you think he's right?
He's right.
Ramaphosa, the national army is here in DRC to protect the interest of a person, an individual called Ramaphosa, not the national interest.
No,
They are here stealing resources. And these resources, the beneficiary is a person called Ramaphosa.
So you
they are
think,
here as machineries.
so you think the old South African army is deployed in DRC to get the
As
money?
somebody's machinery.
So now tell me why.
Are they there? Are they working there as peacekeepers?
Like they're clearly working there on different directions, but saying that it's impossible to say that they are here for Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa is not making money outside of that deal. At the contrary, they're losing money and they're getting exposed because the South African military is low right now, and so they've been fighting in different places and all the time they lose. They lost in Central Africa, they've lost in Mozambique, and now they're losing in Congo, right? So he exposed
means
the
they are
bad
weak.
policies. He exposed the bad
It
policies.
means they are weak.
But don't get it wrong. The resource of Congo have to go somewhere. It have to go somewhere. Whatever it's East African country, that try to take it from the east of Congo to Mombasa or to Dar es Salaam or whatever is the Southern African that take the resources to the south and to Durban Harbor. It's the same game. It is the same game. It is the same people trying to fight in order to control that region and where does the mineral goes. The question is not so much of the mineral of Congo. We know they're here. Where does the mineral go? Do they pass by Kigali? Do they pass by Kampala? Or do they pass by Johannesburg? Those are the deals that are being signed and made. So Ramaphosa is really right to tell Kagame to don't shoot South Africans. Because why would we gain from M23 shooting at South African? Why should they shoot at South African? He's really right about that. Don't shoot more South Africans. 13 have died. Now they're inside their military base. Why are you trying to shoot them? He's really right. But where is wrong, and Kagame knows that, is that even if Ramaphosa sends the full army of South Africa in east of Congo, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. Because who is winning in east of Congo? Is the MONUSCO winning? No. Are the foreign troop, those how do you call them? Those babus, how do you call them? Those white people that come to shoot? I forgot the name. Mercenaries. Are mercenaries winning?
Yeah.
No.
Fadak.
Are MONUSCO winning? No.
Fadak.
Are UN winning? No. Are East African winning? In 8th of December 2023, you and I were together in the show, right? We were saying that East Africa failed its mission in east of Congo. And then because it failed its mission to east of Congo, Tshisekedi was calling at Southern Africa. Because East Africa and South Africa were also looking at the same direction. So who is winning in Congo? Is that East African army? No. Is it Kenyan's army? No. Who is winning in DRC? M23. M23. The rebel groups are the real one that hold the ground. When they hold the ground, you have no chance to win. You have no chance to win. They know the ground. They know the ground. So even if South Africa would come and drop the whole army there, it will fail. His army is not ready to fight such a professional army. It will be occupation.
Okay, my brother Lissafi, let's also look at this conflict in a Pan-African context. These Banyamulenge, whoever you want to call them, are Africans.
Correct.
When you say you are Rwandese, go back to Rwanda. When you look at the size of Rwanda,
yes,
and you look at the size of Congo,
yes,
and then you look at the people, you look at the times, the years, the centuries, the decades they have stayed there. Today, when you tell them go back home, which home are you talking about?
It is their home. It is
Where?
clearly their
Where
home.
they go?
Congo is their home.
Congo is the home.
Congo is their
That's
home.
number one. Number two.
The problem is the border. The border itself makes no sense. You can go on your second point, but I just want to highlight the fact that those colonial borders make zero sense. If there were a colonial border that makes sense, then we didn't have those things. When did the Banyamulenge arrive? Because they did arrive from Rwanda, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. They don't deny that. Banyamulenge arrived from Rwanda at the beginning of 20th century, before. So Rwanda was always a high-density population place. High-density population like Western Europe, like Singapore and the west of China. So those high-density population means what? Means that people will make kids, but they don't have enough land. They don't have enough resources. So they need to find their house somewhere else. They need to build their life somewhere else. Where will they go? They will go exactly in front of where there is land. And who is moving the most? The people that are farmers or the people with the cattle? The easier to move are the people with the cattle. So they will move in all the regions. The truth is, whatever we call Banyarwanda, Banyamulenge, Hema, Bahima, Tutsi, those are the same people. Those are the peoples that have structured their life towards their cause, right? Their cows. It used to be it used to be like this back in the day. Obviously today things have been different, but historically, those are the same people. Those are the same people in all the regions, right? And here we come to exactly what you were explaining before. What is the people there? Where can they go back? They cannot go back nowhere. The real question is, how can they continue to move around like they always have been, without being targeted, without being accused? But it's a really interesting dynamics happening here. But you wanted to go on your second point.
The second point was, we as Pan-Africans, we are now looking at a United States of Africa, one country.
Yes.
But we still have some people who still think in small cocoons. These are Rwandese, these are Congolese, these are Hutu, these are Tutsi. Do you and the people who are at the helm of this, even fighting now, One of them is Paul Kagame, a renowned Pan-African, at least by words and actions. You believe that that is a Pan-African. Second is Museveni, president here.
Yes.
Now, do you see that these leaders of Africa walk the talk of Pan-Africanism? Because if we are walking the talk of Pan-Africanism,
Yes.
right now, this Banyamulenge, being in Congo, being in Rwanda, being in Uganda, being in South Sudan, being in Burundi, wouldn't be a question. Because when you go to America, USA, for as long as you're an American,
Yes.
the state where you live currently and where you are born does not matter. You are an American.
That's it.
Same applies to when you are British.
Yes.
When you are Canadian, does it matter?
Yes.
But here, it still matters if you are Rwandese, why you are in Uganda. If you are Rwandese, why you are in Congo. This is our motherland.
For everyone.
For every African child.
Correct.
Even those in the diaspora.
Yes. Yes.
Whose parents were taken on chains.
Yes.
They are supposed to return here and find this place home to them.
Correct.
Now, if you have a conflict in Congo, whereby two brothers are killing each other over territorial boundaries,
yes,
when are we going to walk the talk, my brother?
Listen, I think it's clear that we, as we said, we have to look at the problem of those borders that divide us.
Because I've also heard the Kagame in his argument saying, these are not Rwandese, these are Congolese. Then he says, some of them came here 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I've kept them in a concentrated camp, refugee camp.
Yes.
So they're refugees.
Yes.
Last week I was in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
I had a guy from America.
Yeah.
Dr. Waka Waka.
Waka Waka.
Because when this conflict broke, we were in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
And when people were talking about, when Kagame was talking about refugees,
yes,
Congolese refugees in Rwanda,
yes,
this guy started crying. He said, Andrew, for how long are we going to turn our own brothers refugees in their own continent, in their own country? How can Kagame start saying Congolese, some Congolese are refugees in Rwanda and have been keeping them for 20 years in a camp? He doesn't believe that an African child
yes,
on an African land
yes,
should be called a refugee.
No, it's correct.
Refugee is a term brought by the white man in Africa for his own benefits.
Definitely.
So when it's like if I say you are at home here, but then you are a refugee.
Yes.
What do you mean?
Makes no sense. But we have to look here in Kampala. We have a really particular perspective. That thing that shocked me when obviously I was doing my research is that you really have like the entire continent in the size of DRC. The entire continent is for DRC. No one is currently respecting what Kagame is saying. African Union is a bit in between, but the whole continent is in favor of DRC and Tshisekedi. The whole continent says that there's massacres in the east of Congo made by Rwandans. It is quite clear that that's how the narrative have been. The Western medias are also reporting that. They're reporting that. In South Africa, they're reporting that. They're reporting that it's an aggression. They're reporting it as an aggression. Like Rwanda come to aggress, to harass Congo, right? And as the Congolese have put it, how can a cat fight a leopard? A small cat like this cannot fight a leopard. So the leaders, DRC leaders,
is Rwanda.
Yeah, DRC leaders said, no, a small cat like this cannot fight a leopard. We should be safe. We should be not panicking. We should not be panicking. But yet, the situation is extremely dangerous, extremely explosive. Not only because M23 keep winning and we don't know how far they're going to go, but also because the new leadership, there's a political leadership, there's the army leadership, right? Exactly at the time of 1994, 1996, when Kabila took power. Kabila was not fighting to take power to arrive in Kinshasa. It was the Rwandans that from the east moved to the west, put him in power in Kinshasa, right? And then after that, he became a nationalist and he tried to kick them away and they killed him, right? So it is really important to remember that those also are the narrative. So now the new leadership of M23, Alliance du Fleuve Congo, that's how they call it. They come and they say they want to take Kinshasa. On the basis of what? On the basis of what? The problem in the east is clear. Banya Mulenge feel insecure. As you explained earlier, it is really clear that Banyamulenge are Congolese. They have been in Congo for like 3 or 4 generations easily. They are as much Congolese as you are from Kampala. You see what I mean? So they are Congolese. They are participated. But Banyamulenge have no one is listening to them outside of East Africa. Outside of East Africa, no one is listening to them. In Congo right now, they say, no, it's Rwandans attacking us. But the truth is, it's a mix of both. It's the Rwandan army, 3,000 to 4,000 men, directly connected to Kagame, and the Banyamulenge that have organized themselves in order to resist. I've had the chance once to interview M23 fighters. I was in Kigali, and they were speaking French. So I was surprised about the Congolese accent. I speak to the M23 fighters. You know what he told me? He said he's in Kigali because his son and daughters are in Kigali. And all his family, all the children are in Kigali. I said, why? He said, because of the fight that side. I said, when did you start fighting for Azobaya Mulenge? When did you start fighting, you as a person? He said, at 16, I start fighting. I start fighting who? The Hutu that made the genocide. So the Hutu that made the genocide, they move on the other side of Congo because Kagame was coming to pressure them. So they escape in Congo. In Congo, who did they find? Banyamulenge. Now they look at those Banyamulenge and they say, what? Those are the Tutsi. Those are the same Tutsi that are fighting us in the north. So they start to fight them in Congo. So those guys, what did they do? They defend themselves. They defend themselves. The guys told me he used to defend his cars with his guns. He would buy guns, sell cars and milk and things and buy guns so he can defend. Who? He can defend himself. No one else. At that time, he's not even trying to think he's attacking Congo or Tanzania or Rwanda. Like there's someone coming.
Self-defense.
They self-defense. Now comes the time, the trouble goes from 1994, 1996, 1998 until even 2002, more or less, right? The very same people that killed in the genocide, they start to organize around a new group, FDLR, right? And remember, Kagame was himself called a rebel before. Museveni was called a rebel before. But all of them, they seized power at some point. So Kagame get really scared of those guys.
When they took power now, they are called revolutionaries.
Now they become revolutionaries. Nationalists.
The term changes now.
They become nationalists, but they were the one that were nationalists used to say they are the rebels.
Yes.
Right? So now when it comes to when they come to fight those things, Kagame saw, those guys are reorganizing. Okay, what am I gonna do? The Banyamulenge saw, those guys are reorganizing. What are we gonna do? And what did they do? Simple. They continue to fight.
Fight back.
They continue to fight back. They had the weapons and everything. So they first self-defense people. They are self-defense people. And I know that for the outside world, it looks like they're attacking Congo from the Rwanda only. But the truth is, Rwanda found really fertile ground in the east of Congo due to the genocide story. And it's true that before that genocide, those things didn't matter. Do you know that Mobutu himself, he has ministers from the east. He has Banyamulenge, Banyarwanda, ministers. Because he was a real Pan-African. He also was a nationalist. He was a nationalist, let's say. That's a bit better. He was a nationalist. And as a nationalist, what did he say? As a nationalist, he went clear. And he said, no, we are all Congolese. East, north, west. Himself, he was from the north. Others were from the east. We are all Congolese. We work together. At the time they worked together is when they start fighting in Rwanda. That conflict extended. And then what happened? Because I also want to tell the side of the Congolese, right? The side of the Congolese is quite important to be told. The side of the Congolese is clear. Did Congolese have any problem with Banyarwanda? They didn't have. They never really expressed any problem with them. There was just a tribe in between of many tribes in Congo. They were not causing issue. There were no issues with. But at the moment, the Kagame make sure that he pushes soldiers toward all the forest of Congo in order to take Kinshasa. At the moment, Kagame took Kinshasa as a soldiers that just become president at the time. Congolese said, but what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You can liberate the country. They call it liberators, but now you guys are invaders. So they also looked at what happened. And they saw that Rwandese, especially soldiers, start to take over all the mines, start to take over businesses in Kinshasa. They start to feel and act like they were home. And that's where the Congolese start to have problem with that. And let's be clear here, in the 90s, there were a lot of anti-Tutsi riots in Kinshasa. In Kinshasa. Why? Because Congolese could see those people are trying to take our resources the same way that other people have done before, right? So it is really important to understand that Congolese are really fair to call this an invasion. Because it is not just the Banya Mulenge that have organized the whole history of what happened since 1994 between here. It's not them. There has been the hand of Kagame that is trying to sort out an internal problem.
So now,
There's two sides of the story. One from Congo. When you say we got invaded, those guys are taking our resources, we don't want that. And in that case, Tshisekedi is right to say this is no M23. This is Rwanda. And he's right, this is Rwandan soldiers. And that's where we have found each other. We have found each other in that conflict. Where both sides, it's difficult to say who's right, who's wrong. And we're not here ready to say who's right, who's wrong. But from the East African perspective, we can see that there's people that are in Congo, that are Congolese, and that now are fighting the Congolese army. But on the other side, we can also say that Congo should be sovereign, and that should be governed by himself, and it should not allow foreign troops on his. We've been saying that we don't want French troops in Mali, we don't want French troops in Djibouti. We were uploading when the French troop left Senegal, when they were kicked out of Senegal and Chad. But we would accept 3,000 or 4,000 soldiers, Rwandan soldiers here in Uganda? Would we accept 4,000 soldiers? We would not accept that. We would not accept 4,000 soldiers to stay in Kisoro here in Uganda.
now let me ask you, the role of the international community in the DRC. What do you make of it? First of all, I see machineries from Romania. They have been given safe passage
Correct.
to live and go in peace.
Correct.
But when you meet your fellow black man, it's target. If it's Rwandan soldier on South African soldier, target. You know, if it's M23 and the other, target. But the machineries, Romanians are being given red carpet. I want to hear you.
Listen, those Romanians are working under the authority of a man that used to be in the French army. It was, his name is not public, but we know that he used to be a legionnaire. Legionnaire in the French army. Legionnaire are people from other nationality that joined the French army after they serve.
So Romania is in Congo. On whose interest? Whose interest are they serving?
Tshisekedi invited them. It is clear that Congo cannot defend himself. Like that have to be basics. It's unfortunate. It's not what Tshisekedi is saying on TV. Beautiful speech, by the way. We should all go and watch it. But beautiful speech, but that's not the case. The case is in the east of Congo. The winners are clear and simple. It's the M23 right now. It was Rwanda and Uganda before. But it's not Congolese army that is fighting. So, because Congolese army is failing, the east of Congo, he bring mercenaries. He pay mercenaries. Because Congo don't have a good army, but have a lot of money. So they can pay mercenaries. So those mercenaries have been there forever. In the 1950s, at the time of Belgium colonialism, do you know when the mercenaries were coming
Romanians
from?
have been there.
The mercenaries were South African at that time, 1950s, 1960s. When Congo got its independence, there's two autonomous republics that emerged in Lubumbashi with Moise Tsombe, and in the Equator with the Lumumbist Mulele, right? Those two rebellions, Mobutu had to fight them. But his army was not strong enough because he came out of the colonial army. So he was not strong enough. So what did he do? He bring mercenaries. French, Belgians, South Africans, a lot of South Africans, Italians, Spanish. Who are those men? Those are men with no life. They take money here, they fight you. Then one day someone is close to kill them, they disappear in the bush. Those are not people you can trust.
So South Africans have been mercenaries in Africa for some time.
Since ever. Since ever. White South Africans have been leading force of mercenaries.
They're not skilled enough.
There is even South Africans right now in jail because of coup they made. They tried to make a coup in Equatorial Guinea. There's a white South African jailed in Equatorial Guinea as we speak.
Hey.
because he was
South
organizing coup
African
against
jail.
the president. Yeah, no, in Equatorial Guinea
Equatorial
jail.
Guinea, yeah.
He organized the coup d'etat, it failed. You know how those guys are, how the situations happen. So yes, so they have always been mercenaries. So those that come to tell you that mercenaries arrive in 2024 in Congo don't know their history or want to lie to you. The mercenaries have been here. They've been set by Congolese government because the army is failing. And why is the army failing? That's other debates. Because Congo used to have a really solid army at some point, but it became really weak now. It became weak in the 90s, in the 2000s. So an army that is weak like this, but still have to defend its territory, will bring mercenaries. And they bring mercenaries, yes, we know about the mercenaries. But the white mercenaries, we know because they're popular. They're popular, especially when they escaped to Kigali. We saw them escaping to Kigali, but they were fighting Kigali. We were, hey, what happened here? What happened here? They are popular. But if we focus on them, we miss the global picture. The global picture is that South Africans are here, mercenaries are here, Tanzanians are here, Malawans are here. And in the last 5 years, you have at least easily 10 armies that have tried to have a base in Goma. The Kenyans were there, Ugandans, Burundi, Rwanda. I'm speaking of the East African community.
Kenyan.
All the East African community troops, they were present in the East and they were present around Goma, right? So it is quite clear. It is quite clear that it's the East of Congo is a place that is in tension. And everyone is trying to bring his side of it. But the only one that doing successfully right now are Rwandans. And I guess Uganda is also doing it successfully because we haven't have any ADF attack here. But we know that the ADF have been attacking 3 weeks ago in DRC. So I think what's also important is to remember that here in Uganda, we have a really particular situation. We are 523 kilometers from Goma, right? So refugee can come from Kisoro really quickly. And we know that when also those groups fight each other, they moved, right? So now we have to look at what the ADF are gonna do. But what we also have seen is that Uganda have reinforced its presence in Beni, in the Kivu provinces. At the same time that Uganda is protecting that side, the M23 have left down from Goma to the south. They are aiming to Bukavu. And we know that right now they're moving south. What are they going to do? I'm not sure. How far are they going to go? We are not sure. But in this show, you can be sure of one thing. We will let you know.
Comrade Disafri, let's talk about the resources of Congo. Because that's the primary reason there is never going to be stability in Congo.
Correct.
And now, these neighboring countries,
Yes.
Congo is accusing them of stealing their resources.
Correct.
In fact, in Uganda, we are still paying. We are taken to court
Yeah.
and we are still paying.
Yes. Which is great. It's great that everyone recognize history. Everyone agree on what happened.
So, what's the masterpiece solution to this? How can Congo protect its mineral resources and its integrity as a nation?
We have to be really clear here. Really clear. The mineral of Congo are making the current digital revolution. There's mineral, Congolese mineral in this mic, in this phone, in this camera recording us, and in this laptop. There will be no AI revolution or electronic car revolution without Congolese eastern and southern minerals. Those are the two provinces. The south also is important, right?
Okay.
So it has to be clear that we're not speaking of something of the past, but rather of the future. And right now, having all those power, trying to look at the situation and see what they can do with it, right, is correlated to the questions of where those minerals will go. Because we know that in order to build the Tesla battery, you need Congolese cobalt,
Tesla,
the company of Elon
Elon
Musk. Our dear South African friends that is forgetting where he comes from. The Tesla batteries, they're from the cobalt of Congo. They go to China. From China, they go to the US. Americans are driving, and Elon Musk is trying to put AI inside, right? All of this would not be happening without the mineral of the East, right? So the question is, where does those mineral goes? Do they go south? Do they pass from the east to Lubumbashi Harare, Johannesburg, where they can get transformed and industrialized, and then Durban to go to China? Or do they go by Kampala and Kigali? Do they pass first by Kampala, then they go to Nairobi, then Mombasa, and then we export all those minerals in Mombasa, meaning that corridor will be really important for the future development of AI and electronic cars. Key investment. So Museveni have been really clear. Museveni have restarted open roads to the Congo. Museveni knows that the mineral of Congo have to pass by Kampala in order for Congo, in order for everyone to gain money from it. The Congolese selling it, the Ugandans also transporting it, and everyone get a share of this.
This network in Congo that Uganda is building,
Yes.
is for the benefit of Uganda.
Yes, of course. Museveni have been really smart here. Because now those minerals
So you
have
are
to go
appreciating
somewhere.
him for being smart, yet they are going to steal in Congo.
No. They're stealing and they're building infrastructure so you can make a legit business. The mineral of Congo need to enrich Congo. In order to enrich Congo, we have two options. Or Congo stop selling them and start to make Tesla and laptops and all that, which is going to take quite a lot of time. Or they sell it and then they get the money, and with that money, they invest into brain development, right? So now the next generation will know exactly what to do of the mineral, and we won't need no engineer from America or from Europe to design this laptop or this phone, which is the situation right now, right? The Chinese have made cars, the Chinese have made phones, the Spanish have made rockets, but yet they were underdeveloped. They were less developed than Africa, right? So it means it's possible. It means it's possible. So the question is, where does the mineral of Congo goes right now? Before Congo,
Who is taking them?
no, who is taking them is capitalist society. Like it's you in your phone, in this mic. We all need Congolese mineral. The world cannot afford to live without the Congolese minerals. So clearly, where does those mineral goes is the key of the fight right now. So SADC countries, Southern African countries, they want the minerals to go from the east and Lubumbashi via the Southern corridor, via the south of the continent, exporting via Durban, right? So they can be also in control of the value, the addition value, right? Museveni and the Kenyans want them to be exported via Kampala. But at the end of the day, those minerals, everyone has an interest into getting them out. Only Congolese are the ones suffering from doing it, not gaining anything from them.
Okay, now, as we wind up this episode now, I want to tell me, Kagame severally has been quoted as blaming Tshisekedi for leaving the East African community standby forces.
Yes.
Because in his opinion, Tshisekedi thought they had come to help him to push back the M23 advancement in the
Correct.
Congo.
Correct.
However, for them, I had the spokesperson of Uganda, UPDF. For them, they were saying that their mandate was not to fight M23. Their mandate was to work like a middleman.
Yes.
Don't fight, don't fight. What's the
Yes.
problem? Please come and discuss.
Yes, correct.
So they came to be in the middle.
Yes.
But then, the suffering, Uganda is here. He has been having LRA in northern Uganda. If Kenya brought an army to stand in the middle between LRA Joseph Kony and in the middle of UPDF
Yeah.
in northern Uganda,
Yeah.
and say, please stop fighting, you sit on the table and discuss, would Uganda buy it?
Never.
Why do
Never.
you want Tshisekedi to buy your nonsense of saying, you have come in my country, I am the president, but you are coming to say, these rebels, he believes that they are rebels,
Yes.
have a legitimate reason to fight.
Yes.
Now you, the government army, don't kill them. And we're not going to allow them also to attack you. So we are in the middle.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you can discuss.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. But that's where the SADC came in the picture. So the East Africans were here trying to moderate, trying to find a political solutions that will allow what? That will allow Ruto and his new elite to take like a lot of business opportunity in Congo, right? So they were interested. Also, remember Kenyatta and Ruto, they didn't like each other. So when Kenyatta left power, Ruto came with a new crew, and it was Kenyatta that wanted the DRC to enter the East African community. So when Kenyatta left, and Congo was inside the East African community, Ruto also took it as this is going to be an advantage for our people. I can open opportunity to my people in the DRC, right? So they came and said, no, listen, we are going to moderate the conflict, we are going to help. But Tshisekedi didn't want that. The agreement at the beginning was that they are supposed to monitor, they are supposed to fight them if they come too close. They're supposed to be an international force to oppose. But then they never opposed. And then Tshisekedi said, okay, what do we want? We want the general to change. The one leading the whole operation, he has to change. If the Kenyan is too close to the Rwandans and M23, we don't want him. So they changed the head of the organization and the operation. Still, there were a lot of leakage. There was so much leakage. M23 knew exactly what the East African Community Army were doing. M23 knew exactly where was Tshisekedi. M23 knew exactly where were the army of Uganda, where were the army of Kenya, which ill they were taking. There were a lot of leakage of informations. So Tshisekedi saw that. And what did he say? He said, no, listen, we are terminating this mission. It was 8th of December 2023. We are terminating this mission. East Africa is not welcomed here anymore. And who did he call? He called South Africa and Southern Africa, Angola, SADC.
And South Africa came to be on the side of the government army, isn't it?
Correct.
Tshisekedi.
South Africa came on the main purpose of fighting
defend-
M23,
To defend the interests of the country's national army.
the sovereignty
Of
of
the country.
the country.
ESC was in the middle saying, we are like, I'm like an arbiter.
Yes.
Don't fight the rebels, and the rebels should not fight you, but you discuss.
Correct.
So now, if I am the president,
Mm.
I have called in my country to come and help me fight Irumba.
Mm.
But you reach in my country and you say, no, Irumba has a legitimate issue.
Mm.
Instead of fighting him, let me guard him not to fight you, and also don't fight him, but you sit down and talk. This is what ESC has been doing.
Has been doing.
Now, Kagame has been blaming Tshisekedi
Yes.
for taking a radical action and chase them away.
Yes.
But secondly, Uganda seems to be doing the same thing, although Tshisekedi has not chased them away.
Mm.
When you look at the CDF, all his statements, his
Yes.
tweets,
Yeah.
he actually agrees that M23 are his brothers.
Yeah.
And therefore, it means he cannot fight them. So what is their mandate in DRC?
The mandate is quite clear. The mandate is to get rid of all the rebel group in east of Congo, especially the most advanced one, M23. But we do know that it's not only M23 here. FDLR are still there. ADF are still there. There is rebel groups in the region that the Congolese army cannot deal with alone. That's why we've seen mercenaries. That's why we see South Africans. South Africans are losing money in that business. They make business in DRC, don't get me wrong. South African elite have always been interested into making money in DRC. So there is an imperialist stand where the Oppenheimers, the Ruperts, the big South African families of business want that market as well. Exactly the same way that the East African want that market. This is a gigantic country. It's the second biggest country in Africa, 90 million people. This is more people than in Uganda and Kenya together. This is more people than in South Africa and Zimbabwe together. This is a huge country, a huge market that everyone wants his share of. But right now, the Congolese army cannot handle the situation alone. He has been weakened for too long. He cannot handle the situation alone. So they need allies. They need allies. In every Congolese crisis, you always have had a state that needed ally. Like they needed allies. Mobutu needed some allies. He chose the American over the American chose him rather. But he needed some allies, right? He chose South Africa, he chose the Americans. But at the same time, there were never a moment where the east of Congo was in peace with no foreign power, nothing. It was the MONUSCO, they failed. Then the East African came, they failed. Then the SADC came, they're failing again. So what do we see? What we see is some causes that repeat and repeat and repeat themselves. And you know what the East African elite is saying? Let me call them like this, the Kenyans, the Rwandans, and the Ugandans. They say that we have to give the M23 something like SPLR. And that's another element to bring on that pictures. And as South Africans, as Pan-Africans, we have long memories. South Sudan current government was once called rebel, right? And once there were also interventions, international intervention in Darfur, in the south, to try to sort out the situations. And then what did the East agree on? And I said that the East agreed on because it was really Eastern African power that pushed for that. The creation of South Sudan. Creation of South Sudan. SPLR. South Sudan People Liberations
Movement.
Movement.
Army.
Army.
Yes.
With Garang, right?
John Garang.
John Garang.
The Mabio.
That was killed not far from here,
Father of the
unfortunately.
nation.
Yeah, and for his
He
nation.
died in a plane crash well from Kampala.
So the Congolese, I'm saying this. Imagine you Congolese now. You see that the Eastern powers have once created a country, South Sudan, in the middle of a big country called Sudan. And now they gather, they go to the East, and now they start talking that they should be an independent republic. That Banyamulenge should be independent, Banyamulenge should decide their future, they should have their own land. What do you think you hear if you're from Kinshasa? You're thinking those guys are doing the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
They're creating a new South Sudan right here
Yeah.
in DRC. Exactly like
They want actually to divide the country.
they want to divide the
Yeah.
country. And at the time, we used to think Sudan is the biggest country in Africa. It can't be divided. Africa is about Pan-Africanism. It's about getting united. It's about getting bigger. They divided it. So I believe that the Western...
And when they divided it,
Mm,
they did bring peace.
mhm.
There's no peace even in the two countries. Because the white man used to sell a narrative that the people from the north
Mhm.
will never live together in harmony with the people from the south. That's
Correct.
Sudan.
Correct.
They said the
Was
only
totally false.
ultimate solution
Mm,
is dividing.
correct.
When they did so, is there peace in both?
But there were an alliance of East African powers and the US under George Bush. Because the US under George Bush believe you have a clash of civilization. They believe the Muslim and the Christian cannot be with each other. Here in Uganda, we know they're wrong. We know we can live with our brothers
We
and
are
sisters
living
from
with-
different religions.
Yeah.
But from America, they think, Muslim and Christian, they attack each other. Arabs and black, they hate each other. Right? So they only saw the differences that did exist between the people of the south and the north of Sudan. But differences exist everywhere. What if we start doing that in the US? Then the south of the US would be for Mexico. There is no way. If you go to the south of the US, everyone speaks Spanish. So why is it that Uganda and Rwanda and Kenya don't go in the south of and say, no, this is the part of Mexico? They don't do that. You don't see no African countries coming to say that California is part of Mexico because it was part of Mexico in 18th century. Which it was, by the way. Which it was.
Yeah.
Which it was, right?
Yeah.
So you have a situation that is quite clear. That
As we went up.
everyone is trying to push for his interest. You have an alliance of interest, right? Where here in Africa, we have the antidote for all those problems. The Jews here were living in peace and harmony. Then they went to Israel, they fight. There were drama, right? The South Sudanese and the North Sudanese, there were problems, tensions, but they were living together. Now they fight, right? East of Congo, they used to be living together. Now they fight. So what do we see? What do we see? We say the same tendencies of divide and rules, which is the exact opposite. It's the poison of Pan-Africanism. It's the poison of Pan-Africanism bring unity between people. Those that try to divide Africa.
The entire Congo, the entire Africa must remain one country.
One country.
So that all African children, sons and daughters of Africa, must live anywhere
Correct.
in any part of Africa.
Correct.
And on that note, Comrade Lisafri Thomas, we come
Thank
to the
you
end
so
of
much.
this night's show.
Welcome.
Weekly roundup of the Pan-African Pyramid. My name is Andrew Rumba Katusabe, your speaker. And follow this show on NBS Television on Saturday from 4 to 5 p.m. And follow it also on our social media platforms. We're on YouTube, the Pan-African Pyramid. We're on TikTok. We're on Twitter. And Lisafri also has a
Yes, you can find me on Mutatina underscore, like that one of the underscore. Mutatina
that
underscore.
one.
You will find me. You will know it's me.
Thank you, Comrade.
Thank you
Lisafri.
so much.
Thank
You so much.
Free your mind now. Be part of People's Pan-African Parliament, the Pan-African Pyramid Debate with your speaker, Andrew Irumba Katusabe.